What follows are references to the genome and 144,000. It has been very difficult to try to find concrete information to validate this. If anyone has additional resources, please link them to the comments below so we can all learn. The first is from the National Library of Medicine. It is a complete gene sequence. The BP stands for base pair, and they are nucleotide bases that form a rung on the DNA ladder. This cites other journals for their references, bases 1 to 144,000. Again, the title of this document is Homo sapiens chromosome 17. The definition of a Homo sapien is the primate species to which modern humans belong. Humans regarded as a species, a member of the Homo sapiens species, a human being. This is a description from a book published in 2013, A Beautiful Delusion, The Coming Antichrist. The author says, in 2000, I read an interview Reader's Digest magazine did with Dr. Francis Crick. He and Dr. Watson are credited with discovering the double helix structure of DNA. At the time, the Human Genome Project was underway. Dr. Crick was asked about how many genes they had identified so far. He answered 140,000, and we expect to find 4,000 more. A number of people, myself included, have tried to locate a copy of that interview and have been unsuccessful. There's something called the Dalton International DNA Project. This is referenced in a lot of the material I've seen. The group analyzes the DNA of men who have the last name Dalton. They're trying to link everyone to a common ancestor, at least with that name. When Dalton 72,000 is referenced, it is because that 72,000 belongs to the male line. The line from the mother would add another 72,000. The NIH, National Library of Medicine, has this journal titled Possible Role of the 72,000 Dalton DNA Binding Protein in Regulation of Adenovirus Type 5 Early Gene Expression. So the Dalton 72,000 is referring only to the male line from the Dalton International. This appeared in pharmaceuticalintelligence.com entitled The Human Genome Project. It states, now our goal is not to make viruses. We wanted to make something substantially larger. We wanted to make an entire chromosome of a living cell. But we thought if we could make viral-sized chromosomes accurately, maybe we could make 100 or so of those and find a way to put them together. That's what we did. Farther down on the page, it says we put 4 pieces together, creating segments that were 24,000 letters long. We would clone the segments in E. coli, sequence them, and assemble 3 together to get pieces that were 72,000 base pairs. The last paragraph, we put 2 of the 72,000 BP, meaning base pair segments, together to obtain new segments representing 1/4 of the genome, each at 144,000 letters in length. He goes on to state E. coli didn't like these large pieces of synthetic DNA in them, so they switched to yeast. I did a previous video about DNA storing The Wizard of Oz. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it because it does have some additional information. In that video, it referenced the same scientist, Craig Venter, and his institute being able to write the names of the 46 scientists who had created the synthetic bacteria into the DNA. This is entitled, Craig Venter's Bugs Might Save the World. The last sentence of this article states, if he can write something more useful than his name into the synthetic DNA of an organism, changing its genetic function in some deliberate way, he will have crossed the threshold to designer life. The next article says researchers extended DNA storage capacity to 214 petabytes per gram. 1 petabyte is 1 million gigabytes. If everything is going to be connected to the Internet of Things, we're going to need a lot of storage. This article continued on with a reference to 72,000 DNA strands. It says the researchers ended up with 72,000 DNA strands that contained the encoded data. This is from the New York Times in 1999. Count of human genes is put at 140,000, a significant increase. The previous Reader's Digest article said they had found 140,000 and expected to find 4,000 more. That was 1 year after this article was published, and the complete genome was mapped in 2003. In 2017, researchers at the New York Genome Center stored a full computer operating system, an 1895 French film, a $50 Amazon gift card, a computer virus, a Pioneer plaque, and a 1948 study by information theorist Claude Shannon into 72,000 DNA strands, each 200 bases long. Claude Shannon invented new mathematics to describe the laws of communications. The majority of our DNA resides in the center of each cell in our body. Genesis chapter 2 says, "Of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die." Genesis 3:3, Eve says, "But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, quote, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die." Well, that's not exactly what God said. Perhaps Eve was telling us where this tree was located, in the midst of the garden. The Blue Letter Bible definition for midst is the middle. Definition D is between, of things arranged by twos. Is this not what is between, something arranged by twos? Revelation 10:8. Then the voice which I heard from heaven spoke to me again and said, Go, take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel who stands on the sea and on the earth. So I went to the angel and said to him, Give me the little book. And he said to me, Take and eat it, and it will make your stomach bitter, but it will be as sweet as honey in your mouth. Then I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it, and it was as sweet as honey in my mouth, but when I ate it, my stomach became bitter. So this angel stands on the sea and the earth. Revelation 13 talks about a beast from the sea and a beast from the earth, and those two combined are what lead to the mark of the beast. The angel holding this book is standing on the sea and the earth. An angel is a messenger, envoy, one who is sent, an angel, a messenger from God. The definition of book is a little book. The root word from it means a small book, a scroll, a written document, a sheet on which something has been written, or a bill of divorcement. The angel is standing on the sea and the earth, and he's holding a scroll. The book tastes really good when he puts it in his mouth, but it turns his stomach bitter. The definition of stomach is the whole belly, the entire cavity, the lower belly, the lower region, the receptacle of the excrement, the gullet, the womb, the place where the fetus is conceived and nourished until birth, the innermost part of a man, the soul, heart as the seat of thought, feeling, and choice. In the letters to the 7 churches in Revelation 2:23, it says, I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know I am he who searches the minds and hearts, and I will give to each one of you according to your works. The word for mind is actually a kidney, loins, used of the innermost thoughts, feelings, purposes of the soul. The word for heart is cardia. It has a long definition, but generically it means the heart, denotes the center of all physical and spiritual life, of the middle or central or innermost part of anything, even though inanimate.